tell me a little bit about who you are?
Sure. I got my bachelor's degree in church ministry and then got my master's degree in congregational leadership from Hope International University. From there, went on to be a pastor for 2 years of a small church in Torrance, actually not too far from Providence's little company of Mary Hospital. After that church closed, I then joined Church Development Fund, which is a nonprofit church lender, and spent about 13 and a half years there in a different form of ministry. Certainly outside of the church world, but still serving churches and the congregations. And then after that, I was able, through a couple different avenues, to join Providence. So now get to continue working with ministries, but in a very different way, in a technical capacity, in information technology. I am married. My wife, her name is Faye. We actually will celebrate 20 years of marriage in about 3 weeks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we have a 5-year-old daughter named Addis, who is the light of our lives and takes after me sometimes a little bit too much. I was a gifted child, and she shows many signs of that, which is fun, but can make it very difficult to keep up with her. But at the same time, even at 5, she and I get to have some great conversations, which is a lot of fun.
How does your wife fit into this scenario?
So she keeps us grounded in a lot of ways. We can get a little carried away in some of those conversations that we have.
Let's talk a little bit about your ministry work. Now, you were a minister
For about 2 years. I actually started with the church the Sunday after 9/11.
Oh, wow. What drew you to ministry?
Mostly it was the preaching. I love to communicate complicated, important, significant truths in a way that people can understand and apply.
What religion?
Protestant Christian.
I grew up evangelical.
Yeah, ours wasn't quite so fundamentalist. It was non-denominational, Restoration Movement Christian Church.
Yeah, okay. Was that your first sermon that you sort of preached, was the Sunday after 9/11?
I had done some preaching before that, but my first one as the pastor of that congregation was the first Sunday after.
What did you talk about?
Identity. Because even in that time, there was this strong movement towards the common identity that we had as Americans, which was a great unifying thing, and that was wonderful. But at the same time, it felt like people were getting a little lost.
So how long were you a pastor?
So I was a pastor for about 2 years. It turned out that the church was struggling before I came to a degree that I did not fully realize. And it's a fairly small church. I think we had 40 or so usually on a Sunday morning.
After that, what did you do? Where do you go from there?
We, being a small church, our property was in trust with Church Development Fund. Their main representative with us was a gentleman named Dave Hamilton. And afterwards, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I was able to get a little bit of severance thanks to CDF's involvement. And after I had been looking for something, just really anything, for maybe a month, I was talking to Dave. And he said, "Have you applied at CDF yet?" He said, "We need people like you here. You need to apply." So I did, and the only open position they had at the time was loan servicing representative. I'd never done anything in lending of any kind, so I moved into that and ended up in 5 different roles during my time at CDF, which was not uncommon there. We used to joke that you didn't really work at CDF until you changed desks at least 3 times.
So you were there how long?
13 and a half years.
13 and a half years.
Yeah.
And then you were like, okay, what?
Well, once again, I got called into an office, and I was told they were laying off some people, and I was one of those people who was being let go. I had survived actually 3 rounds of layoffs over several years. So I got to work at 8 o'clock. At 9:45, I was called into the office for this meeting, and by 10:30, I was in my car. Thankfully, they did give me a very generous severance package, and I ended up being unemployed for almost a year and a half. I spent almost every waking hour. If I was looking for a job, I felt like maybe I should be doing something different. If I was studying something to learn a new skill, I felt like I should be sending out applications. If I was sending out applications, I felt like maybe I should be spending some time with my family. If I was spending time with my family, I felt like I should be applying for jobs.
You were searching for something meaningful.
I wanted to do something where what I did contributed directly to the company, and that company directly made a difference in people's lives. I needed to remove some of that distance. Those were the 2 guiding factors, as well as, will it pay the bills?
What was it like for your wife?
Yeah, she was definitely supportive. I could not have done what I did without her. But she was nervous. She got worried sometimes. We spent a lot of time praying, a lot of time getting counsel from some friends of ours from church. But at no point were we ever afraid.
Yeah, okay.
I just knew I wanted to work at Providence doing something. I needed to be part of this company and hopefully something closely related to what I had been doing. And so I was able to join the radiology applications analyst team. And that's what I do now.
And it meets your meaningful needs.
It does.
If we look at the two big gifts that you have, language and numbers, I mean, that is IT.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's squarely in that. I've only been at Providence for less than a year, but I will say welcome.
I have as well, so welcome to you too.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank
All
you.
right.